right, so now continuing on with graphing a parabola. So we know these are parabolas because they have x squared, they're quadratic. So to find the vertex of any parabola quadratic function, you can do opposite b over 2a. So this is going to be the opposite of negative 8, which is 8 divided by 2 times negative 2. So that's going to be negative 2. Now that just gives me the x-coordinate. To find the y-coordinate, you need to plug in negative 2 for x. So that's going to be negative 2 squared minus 8 times negative 2 plus 1. So when I plug that in, I got positive 9. And then my y-intercept is going to be the c value, which is 1. And my axis of symmetry is going to be an equation, x equals, and it's going to be x equals whatever the x-coordinate of your vertex is. So x equals negative 2. So to graph it, I'm going to go to negative 2, 9. So that's actually way off the chart here. And my y-intercept is 0, 1. So if this is my axis of symmetry, I can use a corresponding point on the other side. So if this is 2 units away, this is 2 units away. So now I have this parabola that opens down. If you want to get more specific points, you can plug in more numbers for x and see what y is. Okay, the second one, I'm going to do opposite b over 2a. So it's going to be opposite of 4 over 2 times 1. So again, that's going to be negative 2. Then to get the y-coordinate, I plug in negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 plus 2. So negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 plus 2 is negative 2. My y-intercept is going to be the c value if it's in standard form. So the c value is 0, 2. Or you can always just plug in 0 for x. My axis of symmetry is going to be x equals, because it's always a vertical line, and whatever the vertex is. So x equals negative 2. So I'm going to plot the point negative 2, negative 2, make my axis of symmetry, and then also plot the y-intercept at 0, 2. So if this is your line of symmetry and you have 0, 2, then right across from it is going to be another point on the parabola. So now you can connect these 3 points to make a curve. Make sure you put arrows at the end. Okay, example 2. The function p equals negative 20s squared plus 1400s minus 12,000 models the profit P from selling items at a selling price of S. What is the selling price that yields the maximum profit? So we want to know what is the selling price. So we want to know what S is. So S is kind of like your X, and you're asking for the maximum. So this parabola is going to open down because this is negative. So we're going to find the maximum. We're going to find the x value or the s value. So I'm going to show you do it by hand, and then I'll also link a video on how to find the maximum on your calculator. How to find the maximum on your calculator, how to find the vertex on your calculator. So by hand, I'm going to use the formula opposite b over 2a, because we're talking about maximum. So it's going to be opposite 1400 divided by 2 times negative 20. So I'm going to do negative 1400 divided by 2 times negative 20. And I get 35. So the selling price should be $35 to get the maximum profit. So if the question asks for the maximum profit, then I would plug in $35 in for S and figure out what the profit is. So again, I'm going to link a video on how to find the maximum or your vertex on a graphing calculator. Okay, example 3. The function h of t equals negative 16t squared plus 50t plus 1 describes an object's height h in feet after t seconds. So what's going on with this is you have initial height, or 1 is the y-intercept. So this would be your y-intercept. And then it's following a projectile motion because it's following a parabolic motion. So the time is going to be your x, and the height is going to be your feet. That's going to be your y. So what is the initial height? So initial height, this is when the time is 0. So if you plug in 0 for t, you're going to get 1. So the initial height is the y-intercept, which is 1 foot. How high, so we're trying to find what the h is an object after 3 seconds. This is when t equals 3. So you're going to plug in 3 for t plus 50 times 3 plus 1. So I'm going to plug in that. So negative 16 times 3 squared plus 50 times 3 plus 1. So 7 feet high. So if they give you a time, you just need to plug that number in for t to get your height. Whenever you have to find the initial height, or the initial something, means you plug in time is 0. That's the starting point. And then what is the maximum height? So whenever you read maximum or minimum or highest point or lowest point, and it's a quadratic, you're trying to find the vertex. So we're trying to find the maximum height. So we're finding actually the y coordinate of the vertex. So I'm going to do opposite b over 2a first. So it's going to be opposite 50 over 2 times negative 16. So put that in my calculator, and that's going to be 1.5625. So this does not represent a height. This represents the time in seconds. But I want to get the height. So if I know the time, if t equals 1.5625, I can plug that in for t to get the height. So I'm going to plug that in my calculator. So plus 50, so negative 16 times 1.5625 squared plus 50 times 1.5625 plus 1. It's going to give me about 40 feet, so I rounded. So that's the maximum height. So at about 1.5625 seconds, it reaches a maximum height of 40 feet.